Hello students, in this video we'll be looking at program 7 of part A of your C programming lab. So first let us look at the problem statement and then we will look at the program. So in the problem statement it says that implement using functions to check whether the given number is prime and display the appropriate messages. That means I have to accept a number and check whether the number is prime or not, and this should be done with the concept of functions. But the first and foremost thing that everybody should know is what is a prime number. So a number which is divisible by itself and 1 is a prime number. That means if I divide this number by any other number, it should give me a remainder. Only when it is divided by itself and 1, it will give me no remainder. So such a number is a prime number. So whatever the number the user has given me, I have to check whether it is prime or no, and I have to display the appropriate messages. So for that, it is important to understand what are functions. A function is a group of code that is doing a particular task, and this code is usually written outside the main function. Every program has at least one function. So till now, whatever programs we have seen, in that we had just the main function, but now in this we are writing another function known as isPrime, which will be doing the checking whether the number is prime or not. So first let us see the syntax of the function. So every function definition will have a return type, that is the type of data it is going to send back to the calling function. Now in this case, I told you that there are two functions, main function and isPrime function. So main function will become your calling function and isPrime function will become your called function. So the value that the called function will give back to the calling function is known is the return type. So that type, what kind of data I'm sending, that return type should come here. Followed by that, I should have a unique function name that will define the function, and the parameters, that is nothing but the variables or input that I'm giving from the calling function to the main function, and then the body of the function, that is what functionality it is doing. So one thing to observe here is there is no semicolon here, there is no semicolon here. So we do not have a semicolon in the function definition. That comes in again function prototyping. And when we are calling this function, we have the same syntax almost, except that we skip the return type and we skip the body of the function. Apart from that, everything is same. We have the function name, we have the parameter list, and we have a semicolon. So let us look at the program, how we are doing it. So we start with the main. Although I have two functions now, isPrime and main, execution always begins from the main, and main is also known as the driver function. Now here I have declared a variable n because I have to accept a value in this variable, and that is the value that I'll be checking whether it is a prime or no. So I give a message to the user saying enter a positive integer. That integer I'm storing it in the variable n, and this is the same variable that I'll be sending it to the isPrime function. So this here is the function call. IsPrime is the function name, opening bracket, and then n, which is the variable which already has a value now, and then I'm closing this. So this is a function call. So what happens when a function call has occurred? When a function call occurs, you go to the body of this function. Where is the body of this function? The body of this function is here, where I'll be accepting the value in the variable n here. So my actual parameter is n and my formal parameter is also n. So whatever is the value that I'm sending here, the same data will be accepted here. So I have taken one example. I have taken n value to be 9 here. So this n value 9 which I have accepted here, the same n value 9 will be sent here, and now I have to do the functionality which is written here. So I take another variable I. So why we are using it? Again for the for loop to work, since for loop is what we are using here. In the previous case, in the previous program also, I have told you in the sixth program. So for loop has three important parts: initialization, conditional checking, and then the increment or decrement operations that we are having. So here we are initializing I equal to 2. We are starting from I equal to 2. That is, we are checking whether this number is divisible by any number, and that number we are checking from 2. Why we are doing it? Because I cannot start with 1. What is a prime number? A number which is divisible by itself and 1. If I take 1 here, then 1 is already visible. So they say that whatever number you are checking, let us say that n is 9. So what is half of 9? Half of 9 is 4.5, which is approximately 4. So between 2 to 4, if in this range, if my number is not divisible, then I can for sure say that it is a prime number. That is what the logic says here. So I start with I equal to 2. So let us do iterations over here. I told you that we have taken I equal to 2 here. So the number that I have taken is 9. Now currently I value is 2. Now what I have to do is I have to check whether this 2 is less than n divided by 2. So what is n divided by 2? It is 9 divided by 2, which is 4. So I compare if 2 is less than 4, then it is true. So I enter the for loop, and in this if condition I am checking whether n mod I. What is mod operation? Mod operation will give you the remainder. If I divide n, which is 9, with if I divide the value, or if I take the divide the value, then what will be the remainder will be given by this operation. So my currently I value is 2 and n value is 9. So that is what I have done here. N value is 9, I value is 2. So if I divide 9 by 2, the remainder that I'll be getting is 1, because 2 fours are 8, the remainder will be 1. So when I have a remainder, now I check whether that remainder is double equal to 0. Is it equal to 0? No. The current value that I'm getting is 1, and the value that we are checking here is 0. So this if condition becomes false. So this part is skipped. That is, we do not return 0, and we again go back to the for loop and increment the I value by 1. Now what will be the I value? I value will be I plus plus or plus plus I, which will become 3. Now again check, is 3 less than 4? Because that is the condition here. So here if you all see, here the I value is 3 and the condition that we are checking is 4. So is 3 less than or equal to 4? Yes, the condition is true. So enter the for loop, again check n mod I, but I value has got incremented to 3 now. So 9 mod 3, is it equal to 0? Yes, because 3 3s is 9. So 9 is perfectly divisible by 3. So the remainder will become 0. So when the remainder becomes 0, this condition becomes true. So when this condition becomes true, I am going to return 0. So what happens when I have a return statement? When I have a return statement, I directly go from the called function to the calling function, to the exact point where it had been called. So from here, this return 0, this value will be returned to this position. So when I have, if I replace this is prime n with 0, then I'm checking if of 0, and 0 is always false. So if of false, this condition becomes false. So this statement will not get printed. Instead, it will print that it is not a prime number. So we all know that 9 is not a prime number. It has factors which is 3. So that is why it gives a message saying that it is not a prime number. So let us look at a prime number. So I have taken n equal to 5 now in the main function. So n value is 5. 5 is what I'm passing. So n value is 5. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, which is approximately 2. So we start with I value. What is I value? I value is 2, which is equal to 2. It is not less than, but it is equal to 2. So 5 mod 2, what is the value? 1. So is this condition true? Is n mod I double equal to 0? No, this is false, because here the value that I'm getting is 1 and here the value is 0. So 1 is not equal to 0, so this condition becomes false. This is not executed. Then this is the closing of the for loop. Go back to the for loop, increment the I value, I will become 3. But what is the condition? The condition is I should always be less than n divided by 2. N value is 5. So 5 divided by 2 is approximately 2. So 3 is not less than or equal to 2, and the for loop will close. So when the for loop closes, where will it go? So this is the opening of the for loop. This is the closing of the for loop. If the for loop ends, it will immediately come here. And following that, I have just one statement, which is return 1. So when this return 1 is executed, I again come to this part, that is from the called function I come to the calling function. So here, instead of is prime n, the value that will get substituted will be 1, and 1 is true. So if of true, this condition will become true, and it will print that percentage %d is a prime number, and we close the main program with return 0. The else part will not get executed in this case. So I hope it is clear. It is very simple program. Whatever number you are accepting, start checking the remainder of it from 2 to n divided by 2. If you are anywhere getting the remainder 0, then return 0. If for all the cases you are not getting the remainder as 0, then return the 1. So how does the output of this function look like? It will look something like this. So first it will say enter a positive number, then you enter a number which is 13. Then it will check and it will say that it is a prime number. So the message that you will get is a prime number. Then the second example, if I enter a number like 12, then it will say that it is not a prime number. So this value is what you have to insert. This is your input. Then this will be your output that you will be getting. So I hope this is clear. If you'll have any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.